Yo everyone, welcome to a LEGO gaming video, which is a genre of LEGO that I wish we had more releases from. This here is set 77037 Aloy and Varl versus the Shell Walker and Sawtooth from the LEGO Horizon Adventures game. Fans of this franchise may remember we do already have one absolute killer LEGO Horizon set based on the Forbidden West game, so this makes for a really great companion release. This here released on March 1st, 2025 with 768 pieces in total, 2 exclusive minifigures and a retail price of just 45 USD before tax or 85 NZD. Better yet, I managed to get this on sale for $68 NZD just 9 days after it was released. All thanks to the support from everyone who watches these videos, of course. Box art there shows the cover work from the newer release title, and the back there shows off some more images of the set, but my favourite inclusion there are the in-game references, more on that later. This continues the LEGO Horizon partnership, while at the same time, technically it begins a new subcategory in that theme, given it's based on a different titled game. This Tallneck there is the icon set that released back in 2022, 3 years ago now, and based on the second game in that series. It's a set that I absolutely adore. Now, LEGO Horizon Adventures was a game released back in November of 2024 for the platforms of the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And we here actually just finished this game back in January, so the release of this is rather strange to me. The game unfortunately didn't perform all that well either, so I don't think there's a lot of anticipation going into this release. Like, I seem to be one of the only people I know who was excited for this release because it's a PlayStation gaming icon in LEGO. And the Horizon franchise as a whole probably wouldn't even crack my top 15 of PlayStation's lineup, but I do really like the depictions we have here, and I think that these are better adapted set ideas than some of the output we've seen from the LEGO Nintendo line lately. Inside our box we have 6 total numbered bags and 2 instruction booklets. Once again, I'm not surprised to see that these are plastic bags instead of the paper ones that LEGO claimed would be in full effect by now, an initiative that they announced over 3 years ago now. This here is the set all built up out of the box. We've got 2 enemies that are brick built, along with some terrain for display options for the minifigures, which I think is really great overall. Because this is based on a LEGO game, these designs feel practically one-to-one to me, but there are some interesting differences between the in-game models and the official toy products that we'll be sure to take a look at. But before we get into the machines, I want to take a look at those display builds. We have 2 pieces of terrain there with some level of play available. It features the least amount of play options, sure, but the display with the tall grass might be my favorite of the 2. See, in game these blades of grass here provide cover to the player and you can hide in there out of sight of the enemy. The inclusion of in-game mechanics for the toy is part of why I love the gaming-based set releases. Now, Varl doesn't really fit in the grass here, but the thought's there. You could always adapt it however you want as well. The other piece of land is a bit more focused on the desert environment, featuring a fire pit and a chest. More in-game mechanics are featured here. The fire pits provide fire for your weapon usage. You can use this in clearing pathways or damaging enemies. And the chest there will provide rewards like currency or equipment. This chest specifically has gold studs, which is the currency in every single LEGO game, and Horizon Adventures was no different. I do also have the upgrades there, but I'll cover those in the minifigure section of this video. My other real complaint there is the lack of compatibility between the 2. It would have been nice if these could maybe connect together and not feel so tacked on like they do, but that price is still low anyway. This just gives you 2 extra stands for your figures, so it's a nothing issue for me really. It's the machines that are the main selling point. Ever since that Tallneck released, I've seen plenty of customs online about how to make more brick-built models. The Sawtooth is an enemy type that I think was only featured in the first game. The Shell Walker there we've seen in all 3 of the currently released titles. Both of these do of course appear as bosses and enemy types in the LEGO Horizon game. I think the Shell Walker might be my favorite there. It's a very fun design that felt like the LEGO Ninjago movie stuff to me. It's a really cool color scheme that I personally felt was right at home with the LEGO original works. Things like this reminded me of the action themes that I loved when I was a kid. I can spot some key differences right off the bat between the official product and the in-game model. For one thing, the legs in the game featured that ski piece, which are just tiles here in person. This crab mech features 6 legs that I'm now realizing reminds me of the Avatar line, articulation provided to make that machine walk and hold its own weight. There's no movement in the head whatsoever, and it's the first time I'm seeing what looked like stud shooters is actually just a static design. You do have the option of moving these swords around though if you would like. The arms there feature some decent movement. It's the same build for both of them. The arm itself is connected to the body by a Technic piece, then it's a ball joint for the 2 middle sections and even for the hands, which have their weapons attached. The weapon on the right arm there is a crab claw with some movable pieces so that you could hold a minifigure, and it works too if you position everything just right, but it's not a perfect catch. The other arm there features a shield which is fully removable from the Shell Walker. You can steal these in-game and use them for your own benefit, and I really love the build there. It's very satisfying putting these triangles together on that snowflake piece, and the connector used for the crab there fits into a minifigure hand, so like I said, Aloy or Varl can steal it and use it against the enemy type. One thing I'll add there is that the hand itself is pretty top heavy for the crab. It won't necessarily stay in place so easily, you just have to work your way around it and eventually it'll hold together. The last chunk there to talk about is the back of the crab, which features this harnessed area, and it's a pretty cool design carrying that shell part around, which in game is a weakness point and the ideal target. You can destroy the shell in game to defeat the enemy, so here in this set, it's fully removable. The repetition here is a bit of a downside with this set. It wasn't the most fun thing to build. You can see how the whole shell is basically the same thing over and over again, and because the design uses such tiny pieces, it really feels quite draining on the build process. And the legs are the same to this effect, little detail parts there, so intricate builds on repeat 6 times over. But still, the model does look really cool once all said and done, and I like the final result of that build. The Sawtooth I think is the more recognizable machine from the game's branding. It's a very cool build too that's pretty similar to other quadruped animal builds in LEGO. I personally just felt like I'd built this thing before. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a weak build though. I do love all those intricacies that this here showcases. Many smooth and curved parts there for the shaping come together quite well, which are all quite noticeable when you take a look at the legs on the machine. Some key differences between the in-game model though, I can tell that the scale has changed drastically to the main boss type. The one on screen there uses the bigger claw pieces and even uses the Marvel mech armor pieces down there for the weak spots. It's a nice downsized version of this enemy. The movement there shows that there are some articulated points for the lower end of the beast. We've got some movements in the middle torso section there, and then the neck and head have separate movements, while the arms have their own stuff going on too. The back legs and front legs are built differently from one another. The back section there features some ball joint movements, which are pretty standard stuff really, and the front legs do as well, but it's a socket piece that actually connects onto a bionicle joint piece that I haven't used in a build for years. The neck there uses those nice curved pieces on hinges for the style, which all lock into place onto studs so it stays just like this. And the head looks really nice too. Binoculars are used for the eyes there. The lower jaw are 2 separate inclusions on hinges so you can move these up and down freely. The head there has some decent enough movements, not necessarily full free range stuff, but good for action poses at the very least. The final points to mention there are the spears, which can be adjusted and removed entirely so Aloy or Varl could use them against the enemy. And the last section there is the weak spot at the back, which can also be removed like the Shell Walker. It's like a battery section of this machine. And now for the minifigures, both exclusive to this set though. For me, Varl is the more exciting inclusion. They both include some really cool features and extras that I mentioned earlier for their weapon upgrades. Aloy here is a straight remaster of the one included in the Tallneck some years ago. It's great to see that figure again, and she features some new inclusions in some details, but I am disappointed at just how similar that figure is ultimately. Her big new inclusion is that bow piece, which I think is maybe the 2nd or 3rd new bow from LEGO in just 2 years. It's a very cool looking tactical bow piece that still looks like it's from a primal era, so I don't know how many reuses they'll get out of this one. Removing that bow there shows the better details of the minifigure for her printing. In game you can unlock many different costumes that I would have liked to have seen here instead of the same default look, but I guess it's good for those who missed out on that Tallneck. Her characterization in the game is very different to the actual series as well. In this video game she's very smiley, very excited and quite hyper, whereas in the actual series she's a bit more stoic and inquisitive. That kind of personality is represented with the alternate face print there, which is a bit more in line with the mainline titles. I appreciate the fact that we get both options here personally. The hairpiece is also very special for featuring that focus piece on the side there, which has an exposed chunk that shows the printing on her head. If I remove that hairpiece, we can look at the extra detail on her back printing. And as for the upgrades as featured on the box, the weapons do have some additional pieces included in helping to change the appearance slightly. There's also instructions on the box and in the booklet on just how to do this. Her bow here features the red quill piece, but we can then change it to resemble the power of frost, which is here using the white quills, the power of lightning here using blue quill pieces, and the power of fire by using little flames. I do think I'll be sticking to the regular red ones though personally. And now time for the comparison. These are very similar figures indeed, which is a shame for someone like me who is lucky enough to have the first set in my collection, but it might be great news for those fans who missed it. It is also ultimately a cheaper set than how much that Tallneck retailed for. The leg printing appears differently to me, but only slightly. I think the torso might be the same one there. The arms are showing off some difference in their arm printing for the new one, which actually technically means the torso is a new piece. Old Aloy there features a spear, which is now instead used for Varl, and the other side continues the arm detailing, as well as a good look at the differences in their bows. In the actual game, you can regularly change and upgrade the appearance of your bow, so both of these fit for this world. Now as for the face prints, I've swapped them around here because these two are virtually the same as one another. This is the smirk that's in line with the character depiction from the first game. The other expressions though feel a bit more unique from one another. The newer figure represents a more goofy side and excited, while the older one is a bit more curious and explorative. The back details there appear to be the same as one another as well. The new one features maybe some slight differences in the shading. And next up here is Varl, who is entirely new for this set and release. The appeal to me of having more Horizon Zero Dawn LEGO sets was that prospect of maybe having new characters adapted into minifig form, so I'm really happy to see that executed there. Varl in the main game is a companion to Aloy and a playable character in the LEGO one, and you can see that he's the one who gets the spear build there, which makes sense. In game the spear is his weapon of choice, and just look at the details for his prints there. Like Aloy, we see some high quality printing for the torso and legs, and arm printing as well. A very cool shoulder-like cape piece with a special design that curls at the end there. Varl features an excellent new hairpiece, which is quite a big deal for the LEGO group and their depiction of black hair. It's an area that LEGO regularly, in my eyes, fail in. They often tend to use incredibly inaccurate hairpieces for people of colour in their minifig depictions, and while this hairpiece may not be the most contemporary design for custom minifigs, I do love the existence there, and I'm going to make sure that I can utilise this piece for customs in the future. Varl there features a double-sided expression of just pure rage. It's an expression that I don't think necessarily matches the character from any depiction of the game. He certainly shows some sides of anger, but he's also a lot more nervous in this game rather than being just straight angry all the time, and removing that cool cape piece there shows some nice back detailing as well. And for his spear, Varl can also upgrade his weapon to those spear parts that we had with the chest earlier. They all attach to the end of the spear, and there's some instructions inside the booklet on how to change these over. This here is Varl using the upgrade of Frost with a clear brick and some white studs. This is Varl here using the upgrade of Lightning, which uses lots of blues. And then here we have him showing off the upgrade of Fire, which uses some lighter tones. Like Aloy, I think I'll just stick to my regulars. I will say that as much as I love these figures, I am disappointed to see that only 2 of the 4 playable characters are featured there. We're missing the characters of Teersa and Erend, and I'm a little bummed out about that because I don't think we're going to be getting more Horizon LEGO sets in the future, so we're going to be constantly missing our 2 extra heroes. The instructions for the set come in 2 booklets, one per machine so you can build with a friend. There's no theming on the inside for either of them. The back of the first manual there shows the crab all complete. The next booklet is the Sawtooth and Varl, and the back of this booklet here shows us the inventory list with no additional ads. And this here is what the complete display looks like right now for the LEGO Horizon line and, well, LEGO PlayStation in general. Overall, it's one of the best values in LEGO on the current market space. This is a licensed set that is also based on a video game, which in and of itself is a rarity. I think the 2 machines ultimately make for great looking models, though building it might be a bit of a struggle with the little pieces and repetitiveness of those designs. The added displays there are really great for giving the figures somewhere to stand, and for including the game mechanics into a set, bravo. One of my favourite features always. Overall, it makes for a great display piece alongside my Tallneck, and that's all that I was wanting from this anticipated release. If you enjoyed this look at a LEGO video games based set, liking this video here and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, ka kite anō, take care, and see you all next time.